It is completely changing the equation. The United States does not just rule the world the way we used to. The axis of resistance, those trying to stop Israel's ongoing genocide. The emerging reality is that the axis of resistance from Al Jazeera, the axis of resistance that unites Iran with half a dozen big and small Arab non-state armed actors is growing stronger and will likely continue to do so if the issues that drive the partnership remain unresolved, especially the Palestine conflict and Israeli-American aggression, threats or sanctions against Arab parties. He's being diplomatic. He's calling it the Palestine conflict. I would call it genocide, but you get it. Yet you would be ignorant of this if your knowledge about the region comes from mainstream U.S. media. And you turn on CNN or Fox News or any of these, you will get just the dumbest analysis of what's going on right now. You will get an analysis that says Iran, for some unknown reason, just shot all these missiles at the white people. Oh, what is going on? Like, it is so aggressively dumb. It's amazing how that they can put that crap out there. But it just leaves everything out. It leaves all of the context out. It leaves out the fact that Iran told the U.S. and Israel that this was going to happen because they want you to believe that Iran is just out of their minds and they just like bombing things. The United States is the one that is out of our minds and likes bombing things. And of course, Israel right now. But the U.S. is the ones. We are the sociopaths in the room that have been bombing and destroying societies around the world for decades. And Iran has almost entirely refused to be pulled in to our sociopathy, to our insanity. As even Israel says, this is like the first time that Iran, the state, has hit Israel or the U.S. other than responding to when Trump assassinated Soleimani. But it's just, what the mainstream media is pumping out is just unbelievable. But the American media largely follow the American political elite, and both tend to ignore Middle East realities that do not comply with Western preconception of weak, quote unquote, Arabs who only respond to the use of force by, quote, righteous Israeli American armies. Despite the recent events in Palestine, Lebanon, and Yemen that have shattered such racist visions for good. The increasing power, integration, and influence of the axis of resistance rank among the most significant geostrategic developments in the Middle East in the last half century. The combination of state-anchored Arab militancy by Hezbollah, Hamas in Palestine, and Ansar Allah in Yemen, that's the Houthis, alongside Iran's resistance to American and Israeli provocations, are best understood through their common underlying values of resistance and defiance. The American media and political class and most of the West still refuse to see or acknowledge this. All of this is coming together, is congealing into they are becoming a formidable entity, the axis of resistance, Iran, Ansar Allah, Hezbollah, Hamas. And this doesn't mean I agree with everything they do, but it is completely changing the equation for what Israel thought that they could do, just genocided people and that no one would respond, for what the U.S. thought that the U.S. could do, which is just funnel bombs and missiles to Israel, and then Israel's genocide will be fine and good. The equation is changing in so many different ways because of the power of these entities, and your mainstream media refuses to acknowledge their power, because then you'd have to admit the United States does not just rule the world the way we used to. Can't just tell every country to just fall over and that's it. It is a completely different situation than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. And your mainstream media is fully refusing to acknowledge these shifts, these major geopolitical global shifts. Also, I'll add this in there. This is also making China look like the adults in the room, because China is against a genocide against Gaza, but is not involved. So, while the U.S. and Israel commit genocide and, assassinate people in their consulates and everything else, the Chinese are sitting there being like, you guys are all unhinged. It's very unhinged. That's what it is. And it really does make the Chinese look like the global adults